Jason hit me up today and was like, dude, this guy is doing a show with Don Yee. Don Yee is going to go. And so I thought it was going to be Don Yee. He said Don Yee. Anyway, Dan Salio didn't produce Don Yee, but he went on his show and said, I talked to Don Yee, and this is what he told me, which is, I mean, you don't really get that from sports reporters ever. It's always like my source. I mean, I would never say my source. So shout out to Dan for going there. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little risky. I mean, if it's true, I mean, I don't think that he'll ever really, ask him again.
I would think. I mean, he played for the team. He knows the general manager and Don Yee, and I guess Don Yee's cool with him just repeating conversations. Hey, that's between him and Don. Thank you, Dan. First thing he said is that the Bucs want Jimmy Garoppolo. That if they want him as Brady's backup and heir apparent. And so if the Browns don't make a stronger push to make him their starter, that the Bucs are waiting to trade for Jimmy G. He didn't say what they're going to trade, but it seems like they don't have cap space. They'd actually be, it seems like I'm going to ask him, but they would consider extending his deal and actually wow. What do you think of that?
I mean, it's hard to really gauge what's the truth and what he's speculating on, because if you watch it, you can go back and like rewind it if you want to go watch what was going on. And he goes back and forth with Grant. Grant was asking all the good questions because he was kind of at first, well, this is what's happening. Well, this is what I think is happening. Right. That's the part that really kind of didn't jive with me, because it's like, if you know something, stand on what you're saying. Don't say, I think it's happening, or, that kind of puts.
And he prefaced the whole thing by like, this is news. I have news. Like, all right, what's the news? What's the news? Yeah.
And the first part that bugs me is, well, should we talk about it? You said he was going to be on at 3, and then you said, well, I never said. It literally said, I'll have Don Yee on. I don't get it. So, all right, it's the first part. A lot of yelling, a lot of sweating. But then the thing is all of this stuff right now, it's weird because you think about the style of offense the Bucs run, and Byron Leftwich is now in charge of it. It's not Bruce Arians anymore. Are they necessarily just going to graft their offense to that and change it? Byron Leftwich runs similar things that Bruce runs. I guess they don't run the same exact thing. I wouldn't say it's all risk it, no biscuit. But it's weird to think that Bruce Arians, who had to change things for Tom Brady, which he still throws the ball down the field, would do all of that and completely change what he had to do for Jimmy Garoppolo, especially when he was saying that they reached out after Tom Brady was retired.
We're going to talk about that. But how would Mike Evans feel about Jimmy Garoppolo being his quarterback long-term? Like, hey, man, you better really start loving to run slants and get really good at breaking tackles. That's not your game. It seems like it's a bad fit. But, look, again, Dan Salio was gracious enough to explain where he was coming from, and he said, I talked to Don Yee. I talked to the general manager. You got to respect the guy who puts himself out there like that. So if he says that those people are telling him the Bucs are interested, I got to believe it. I don't know what the Niners are going to take. I hope they don't send money to Tampa for Tampa to take Jimmy off their hands. That would be a mistake, in my opinion.
Well, think about this, Grant. Let's say the 49ers cut Jimmy Garoppolo right now and he still can't pass a physical. That's $7.5 million. Would you be okay with just giving them $7.5 million of the contract and sending him off? Because you're still saving 21, 22, okay, right? So, I mean, if it's that, what happened with Baker Mayfield was they took 10. They took 10, and then they took 3 and turned it into incentives for Baker Mayfield. So that's $13 million that they kind of worked around, and that depends on what Baker can do. I wouldn't be against 7.5. Like, I wouldn't be against 7.5 right now if the 49ers wanted to cut Jimmy Garoppolo. I really would not. It's just
when you put it that way, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. If they say, hey, give us the 7.5, let's just say this week he still hasn't passed a physical, and the Bucs say, just give us the 7.5 injury guarantee and then trade him over and we'll take the rest, cool. And I think you just make that move blindly. It doesn't even matter what they're trying to give you at this point.
It's really funny. One of the things that Dan said, which I believe, is that the whole story about Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo not getting along is bogus and that they're actually good friends. I can believe it. I mean, they go to freaking Kentucky Derby together. And it'd be funny, like, the league's really down on Jimmy Garoppolo right now. He's looking for a life jacket. It's funny if Tom Brady throws it to him, right? Hey, man, I got you, dude. Like, you're not as bad as people say. Come be my backup again for a year. That's a good spot for you.
The one thing that kind of makes sense is this. The Bucs don't like Kyle Trask. The Bucs don't
give him a chance. Give him a chance, Doc.
The Bucs don't like Blaine Gabbert.
That's fair.
And Jimmy Garoppolo will keep them in playoff contention. He would. I believe that. But they wouldn't be Super Bowl contenders the way that they are with Tom Brady. So what do? do you, with Todd Bowles, break this down and say, well, we're just going to go with Kyle Trask, give him a shot. We're going to let Blaine Gabbert run. That's the part that kind of makes sense, in my opinion, from what he said, because the Bucks do have a ready to win now roster with a lot of young guys. You really can't waste those guys that you still haven't paid and things like that. So that kind of made sense for me.
And it's like Tom Brady kind of has the LeBron James effect with that franchise. Like, yeah, they have a general manager, but if Tom Brady goes to that, whoever that guy, Jason, whatever his name is,
Jason Licht.
Yeah, if he goes to Jason Licht and he's like, hey, I think it'd be a great idea to get Jimmy Garoppolo, that carries weight. And maybe he did that. So good thing that Jimmy Garoppolo, if he only responds to one person's text messages, I guess it's Tom Brady. So good going. And good networking on that one.
That's the other part that I took from it too, was that Tom Brady wants this. Like, Tom Brady's fine with this.
Yeah.
And, there's other things that we'll talk about that kind of line up in terms of, recovery time with Jimmy, and we'll talk about that. That was the big thing that I thought I took away from it. But I'll tell you where it was a little wishy-washy. But at the same time, it was kind of like Jimmy's in a spot where there's no starting spot, so he may have to do something like this. And why not the Tampa Bay Bucks?
And it's funny, last thing before we move on to the next item, it feels like Brady is thinking long-term with the Bucks, almost like a general manager. Like, I want to set them up for success once I'm gone. I mean, I'm not trying to praise Tom Brady more because, yeah, he's a great leader and stuff, but who does stuff like that? That's crazy.
I mean,
you think he'll get in the front office? Do you think he'll take ownership of that team in a sense? Tampa?
That seems like a natural move for him, right? Like, and he gets to stay in Florida, and he gets to, be front office. And if Tom and Jimmy are as cool as Dan Sileo is talking, and then it's putting your friend on, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Hey man, I've got an opportunity over here for you. We can make this work.
And Tom does that. He did that with Leonard Fournette.
And if here's the thing, if Tom Brady goes into the front office, do you think he wants to have they're losing while Tom Brady's there? Jimmy will still win them some games. They'll still be in contention. Like Kyle Trask isn't going to do that.
Right. And now that Bruce Arians is gone and it's more of a Tom Brady, Byron Leftwich production on offense, who knows? Maybe it would fit Jimmy Garoppolo better, because I can't think of a worse fit than Jimmy Garoppolo and Bruce Arians. But again,
Bruce Arians' offense, Bruce Arians would lose his mind when there's Mike Evans streaking down the field and he throws the ball underneath to Cameron Brate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mike Evans is going to lose his mind, but I can't wait for that to happen. Jose says, put Grant on the call. I love you guys all campaigning for him to. He's like, who is Grant Cohn? Like, fair enough. I don't know who you are either.
That's wild. That's wild. He didn't have to do all that. Just say, hey, listen, can you guys fill me in on who Grant is? But a lot of
we got off on the wrong foot. He started taking shots at people at KMBR. I'm like, whoa, they didn't do anything.
No,
I don't work at KMBR. But that was hella funny. Grant and Jason back again, like Batman and Robin. Damn right.
So, let's go.
Like we never missed this beat. Is it possible to restructure the contract and trade? If they want to commit themselves to multiple years of Jimmy, which it sounds like they might. I can't freaking believe it.
Wow. Dan Sileo doesn't have the best track record when it comes to this. Like, he's the guy that's just like, the 49ers are working on a deal. Like, he'll throw out random things. The 49ers are working on a deal with the Bills that has Josh Allen coming to the 49ers. It's not, he's never said anything like that, but things in that lane.
Well, I've never heard of him until. I'm sorry, Dan. You played in the league. I guess you're doing your thing in Tampa. Great. Man.
I just don't know.
I appreciate you answering my questions.